Yo, what's up, guys? You got PokeaimMD here with some tournament coverage. I played in Smogon Tour, I think, the past weekend. I feel like it was Friday because I had a little bit of time on Friday. And it's black and white OU. This is definitely the OU I feel the most rusty in when it comes to the past 3 gens. So black and white, 6th gen, and 7th gen, which is obviously the current gen. But actually, maybe I'm better at black and white now than I was at 6th gen currently because I haven't played a lot of current 6th gen either. But either way, this is some Smogon Tour coverage. I will be going over my replays and why I made the plays and whatnot. If you guys don't want to see this, feel free to skip the video. You can also check the replays down below just to watch them yourself. Anyway, I'm playing Ezreal as round 1. If you guys didn't know, he was 2nd place at Worlds in the year that Wolf won, which I believe was 2016. Also a friend of mine. So John is using a team that I kind of know. I feel like it's a BKC-ish team or a Finchinator team. It's one of them. Because I know it's like Protect Keldeo and then Spikes and Taunt Gliscor. That's all I remember from it. But when I looked at his team and I looked at mine, my Heatran is on a balloon, which is very hard for him to pop. If his Gliscor actually doesn't have Ice Fang or Facade or Knockoff or whatever, can't break it. His best way is probably like pursuing me with Tyranitar to break my balloon. But otherwise, Heatran on balloon is so good because it avoids spikes from Skarmory. And if you guys didn't know, black and white is a very spike heavy metagame, even more so than it is in the current generation that we have right now. It's a very spike heavy metagame. So that'd be really nice. But my plan is get up my own spikes and just pressure him with my Heatran and my Specs Latios and Scarf Lanners just to check Alakazam. So let's get right into the game. So he leads off with Skarm. I lead off with Heatran because Skarm is a great lead versus literally everything on my team besides Heatran. And also Heatran matched up well versus Gliscor, Among Us, Skarmory as an initial lead. So I led off with it. That way I can either go for a Will-O-Wisp turn 1 or Magma Storm. I opt to go for Wisp because his best switch-ins are either Gliscor if he wants to be a little bit frisky, Tyranitar, or Keldeo. Getting off a Burn is also super nice on Keldeo as well because Burn does a ton more damage in this generation. So that plus Infinite Sand is going to be racking up on Keldeo. So I go Ferrothorn here because I didn't think he'd Secret Sword. If anything, he'd go for Scald. I didn't want to go with Lottie because Lottie could get Pursuit Trapped. And Ferrothorn will easily be able to eat up hits and threaten this thing with a Power Whip. And on top of that, I can start getting up Spikes, which is going to be really important again for Heatran putting in work. So goes for another Toxic, expecting my Latios to come out as he's going to bring out Skarm. I'm going to go for a Spike. I didn't expect him to Power Whip there because Keldeo is his best switch into my Heatran. And now I go route to Heatran. If Skarmory wants to taunt me or lay up Spikes itself, I can actually stop that and just throw off a Magma Storm. So I land the Magma Storm on Tyranitar, which is actually pretty important because now Tyranitar is 2 KO by Specs Dragon Pulse from Lottie, as well as Draco Meteor after Rock. So if I drop a Draco, it would be 2 KO'd, and Surf. So if he has Pursuit, he should go for it here, but there's no way I'm staying in with Heatran. I want to try and preserve my balloon as much as possible. I feel like black and white OU is the only generation where a balloon is actually useful. Every other gen, I feel like balloon is one of the worst items ever. But in black and white, it's great because of spikes, how spikes heavy it is, and extra drill and whatnot. So I switch out. He doesn't go for Pursuit, which is great because I keep my balloon. I scout for the Superpower there or Earthquake. Well, obviously, he wouldn't go for Earthquake, but Superpower as I go out Lando, and I can U-turn out here into my Ferrothorn on the Gliscor because if he doesn't have Taunt, then I'm good. My Keldeo was Surf, not Scald, so I didn't go out to Keldeo. Otherwise, if I had Scald, I would have went out to it and tried to fish for a burn on Among Us, wearing it down and whatnot. But bring out Ferrothorn there as he does reveal the Taunt. That's fine. I opt to just go for Spike here. Now I'm just actually going to play some Power Whip games because I don't want to go Heatran as he does real Ice Fang. That would hit both Lanners, Latios, and break Heatran's balloon. So I'm not switching out because I was pretty positive that he had one of those as he brings out Skarmory. Now, before he already revealed that he had Taunt, so seeing as how he's a good player, I figured I would be able to get away with going for a Spike here as he whirlwinds me out. It's a Lanners, anticipating me to maybe go out to Heatran, get some chip on it with Stealth Rock. So I'm able to U-turn out with my Lanners right here. I break Skarmory start, going to bring out Ferrothorn. I don't want to go out to Heatran just in case he whirlwinds again as he goes for a Spike. And right here, I'm actually going to go for another Spike, getting up all 3 of my layers, and then going for a Leech Seed. Again, Skarmory could have taunted me, but I'm just playing the odds here. He actually whirlwinds me out into Tyranitar, which is great because I also get on my rocks. Absolutely fantastic here. So that'll be pressuring Tyranitar, pressuring Keldeo, pressuring Skarmory, and I can bring right back in my Ferrothorn. I'm not going to risk my Heatran. The ideal situation for me when it's Gliscor versus Heatran is Gliscor coming in on Heatran's Magma Storm. So again, just trying to waste some Protects, or trying to waste some Taunts, trying to waste some Earthquakes, get some Leftovers recovery, and then repeatedly just clicking Power Whip here. I don't want to allow him to bring out anything for free, and I also want to get some chip damage on Gliscor as well. It might not have Roost after all. It's so Taunt, Ice Fang, Earthquake. It doesn't necessarily have to be Roost. It could be Toxic, it could be Protect. So I throw off a Leech Seed again as he brings out Skarmory, and I'm just going to Protect here to avoid anything he'd go for a Taunt or anything like that. And then I'm going to throw off a Power Whip because I don't want to allow him to, again, bring out Gliscor, and I don't want to switch out to Heatran because it's too good versus him to let him bring it in. So once again, go off for a Power Whip as he brings out his Gliscor right here, probably anticipating me to go out to Heatran. As I miss, I cannot hit this Gliscor to save my life. I cannot hit this Gliscor at all, as he's going to go right back out into Skarmory here. And I actually opt to go once again for Power Whip because if he does have Roost, eventually he's going to have to Roost on my Ferrothorn, and then Power Whip is going to be super effective because he loses Flying type. But I bring out Heatran now because he has to Roost with Skarmory, otherwise it gets 2-hit KO by Dragon Pulse, and his entire team gets 2-hit KO by Dragon Pulse from Specs Lottie as he brings out Gliscor. And this is the situation where I was looking for. This is the ideal situation where I throw off a Magma Storm, Gliscor comes in, I connect, and it does a ton, man. He says even in the chat that he was used to Oras Gliscor, which is Badef. But this is modest max special attack Heatran. All I gotta do is land one more Magma Storm and Gliscor's gone. So he hits me with the Ice Fang, either trying to flinch me and also breaking my balloon. Doesn't work out for me as I'm able to land on the Gliscor, getting rid of it, and that's such a great turn as he brings out Alakazam. Now my Heatran's EV spread does survive a Focus Blast, guaranteed, and because Alakazam tends to run Focus Sash and Spikes plus Zam is super threatening to my team, I want to break its Sash here, so I have to stay in even though Heatran's really good versus Skarmory and Amoonguss still, because this is the best opportunity to break his Focus Sash, giving me a way of revenge killing it with both Tyranitar and Landorus. Also, the fact that my T-Tar is Chopper Berry, I do still live Focus Blast at the range I'm at after Spike, so I can just pursue Alakazam after. So I go for Earth Power here as he misses Focus Blast, and that's really unfortunate for him because his next one connects, like I said, did not knock me out, and I'm able to 2-hit KO the Alakazam, getting rid of a giant threat as he's going to bring out Keldeo. And this Keldeo is Leftovers, but it has Toxic. I'm assuming Protect Skull, Toxic, Secret Sword. Again, I was a little bit familiar with the team, but I wasn't entirely sure. So I just stand here where Heatran since it does die to hazards. I don't want to switch in anything to Keldeo, and I just have to go for double protects because it's just in my best interest. I don't need Heatran anymore, but if I can make it so Keldeo can no longer come in on hazards, great. And I literally just needed one to do that. So plus with Burn, it couldn't come in anyway. But I can now bring out my Landorus here. I can either go for Earthquake or go for U-Turn, and your U-Turn will be able to knock out Skarm, but excuse me, U-Turn will be able to knock out Keldeo, but I wanted to go for Earthquake because if he went Skarmory, I didn't want to take the additional Rocky Helmet damage, and I just opted to stand right here because if he phases me out, that's whatever, since I obviously don't care about spikes. And I decided to bring out my Tyranitar now as I'm just locked in Earthquake, and I thought, okay, maybe he's going to go for Taunt spamming to waste my Earthquakes, which is, you know, a decent play because Earthquake is really good versus team when Skarmory is gone. So whirls me right back out into my Lando as I'm just going to spam HP Ice as he whirls me right back out into Tyranitar. And I do have Fire Blast to do quite a good chunk of damage right here, enough to at least threaten out Skarm. You obviously don't want to risk crits because they don't do 1.5 times damage, they do 2 times damage, so that would be a dead mon. So you don't want to risk crits or anything like that, as he is going to sack his Keldeo right there, bring out his Tyranitar. I'm able to crunch it right here, and though I'm fairly confident this is Chople, actually I'm like 100% confident this is Chopper Berry, so I'm going to go out to Landorus, him not being cussed up or anything like that. I'm fairly confident it's Chople. Again, I know the team, so I can bring out Landorus right here. I can U-turn out into my Lottie, and at this point, Lottie kind of just 2-hit KOs everything. So I'll click Dragon Pulse right here. If he actually opts to keep Amoonguss alive, that means, or if he opts to sack Amoonguss right here, I can then click asfgerthrrth to do good damage to Tyranitar as well as, or knocking it out, as well as decent damage to Skarmory. So I bring out Landorus right now as he goes for Roost, and at this point, I also win the game with my Keldeo because Keldeo does a ton of damage to him, and my Lottie also as well. So basically, I just stand here and go for HP Ice. He couldn't bring out Tyranitar anyway, it dies as well, which is something I didn't mention. Brings out my Lottie, and at this point I just spam asfgerthrrth, It does way too much to Skarm. It actually puts it in range of max attack superpower from my Landorus, so I'm going to go right for that. Knockout Skarmory, and Tyranitar does go down to Hazard, so that's a good game. So this is round 1 of Smogon Tour. If you guys want to understand how it works real quick, I will show you actually, because I feel like I was told by Hitzel this is smart. So the way Smogon Tour works is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there are different tours, and let's go to black and white real quick. So let's say this was the way it worked, right? So week 26, black and white OU. So round 1, it just pulls best of 1, round 1, and then round 2, and then round 3, and it goes all the way up until finals. That's how Smogon Tour works. So that's round 1. I ended up winning. Round 2, I played my boy BKC, and I actually loaded up his own team versus him by accident. Didn't mean to, but I don't have a bad matchup at all because Among Us is just so good versus him. Plus, Sand. Among Us plus Sand is really good versus him. And Keldeo is great because I do have... Is this the Protect Keldeo? I'm not 100% sure. But I know Among Us with Sand is great. I know that Heatran's pretty good too because it does have HP Ice, which can lure in the Garchomp. And at a point that... Basically, I have a pretty decent matchup here. I'm pretty weak to Specs Keldeo in the rain, especially if he goes for Scald and Among Us gets burnt. Those Surf is so good, man. And Specs Hydro Pump is so good too. So I'm pretty weak to that Keldeo. But besides that, I feel like I have a good matchup. So I think Among Us because Politoed makes a ton of sense versus a team with one real water resist and then Keldeo. So Politoed tends to run Hypnosis. So I make a good, I guess, I make a turn 1 play of expecting him to hit his Hypnosis, have Hypnosis, and I go for Sleep Talk right here, and I get a Giga Drain, which is great. And at this point, because black and white sleep turns do not reset, you have to. I have to stay in because I can potentially beat this thing 1v1. I can potentially Sleep Talk and get a Spore. They're also guaranteed. They're set 3 turns, so either way, I just switch in. Is it set 3 turns? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm thinking about something. It's set 3 turns if I'm not mistaken. Either way, I wake up this turn. I go for the Spore, and Politoed, which thiefed my Black Sludge, is now super low. I'll bring out Heatran now because it made sense since I felt that a Ferrothorn could come in and pressure me. As a Ferrothorn could easily set up some hazards versus Among Us. However, Among Us is really low, which makes Keldeo and Azumarill a very big threat. He makes a very nice play and goes Garchomp. Probably calling my Heatran to want to come out. And then he clicks the Choice Ban Outrage right here. He clicks Choice Ban Outrage. So I'm a U-turn for just a little bit of chip. That puts it in range of HP Ice guaranteed as I could bear a Heatran. I can potentially get up Rocks here or go for Magma Storm. That is, again, guaranteed Bandit because I did 34% at -1 to this type of Heatran. And I actually go for Magma Storm too because Magma Storm is the difference between Keldeo being 2-hit KO'd by Spec Surf from my own Keldeo, as he is going to go for Hydro Pump. And at this point, I'm kind of in a position where, okay, I don't have very many switches to you at all. I'm going to sack Extra Drill because I feel like Extra Drill does the least. Obviously, spinning away is really nice, but this will allow me to bring out my own Keldeo and potentially threaten him with the Scald or Secret Sword. Opt to go for Scald because, first off, he's not even Specs. Secondly, this is a potential speed tie here, which I am willing to risk. He dies to Secret Sword, so I'm actually going to go for that. Scald also hit whatever wants to come out of Secret Sword. If I burnt Azu, if I burnt Lottie. Azu's obviously not a fairy type, so it wouldn't be a best switch, and it would probably be 2-hit KO'd. But if I burnt Azu, that'd be great. Or Lottie, that'd be great. But I throw off a Secret Sword here as he's going to bring out Ferrothorn. Probably trying to pivot in on the Scald. And now I put myself outside of range of his own Secret Sword by being in right here. So I could safely go for another Secret Sword. Again, I'm out of range now of Keldeo's own Secret Sword, so it's great. It also helps me out versus Bandit Azu. And I'll go for Protect one more time just to get a little bit more recovery because this is a switch into Garchomp. This is a switch in, or this is a Revenge Killer to Garchomp. And I can safely bring out my Tyranitar here as he drops another Draco. And I can just Pursuit Trap this Lottie. That Draco did nothing. I think that's Scarf. I think that's Scarf damage, but able to Pursuit Trap the Lottie, knock it out as he is going to bring out his Garchomp. And I don't want to switch out into Landor'S. Also, it's very likely he doesn't go for Earthquake. He goes for another Dragon move. So if he goes for Outrage, I'll be KO'd, and then he'll be able to Revenge Kill me. If he goes for Dual Chop, I'll live it. If he goes for Dragon Claw, I'll live it. So I stand right here just to get up my rocks, which will be pressuring obviously the Politoed and the Keldeo and the Azu. And then this allows me to save my Mon as fodder to then bring out my Heatran. So because it's BKC's team, he probably knows this thing has HP Ice. So he's going to switch out into his Politoed as I do go for Magma Storm, anticipating him to want to switch out. And right here, because Politoed has burnt no turns of sleep at all. And first off, it's also Gen 5, so there's no burning turns of sleep. Basically, Politoed is guaranteed sleep right here in front of me. I'm going to go for the HP Ice, anticipating him to want to double out into Garchomp. Basically, I thought it was my best play because it's a no drawback play since Black Slowers knock him out. And I'm able to catch Garchomp upon switching, which is great. Azu dies, or excuse me, Politoed dies to rocks due to my Black Sludge. So at this point, I can safely sack my Tyranitar just to get up the infinite sand and pressure Azu, weaken the water type attacks and whatnot. However, there's one thing to note. I forgot that Azu could not have Belly Drum plus Aqua Jet in this generation, so I actually asked that in the chat. Thankfully, BKC was really nice and told me. Anyway, so bring out Tyranitar just to get the sand up and pressure Azu. At this point, his best play and his only play, I think, is to actually go for a waterfall flinch, and I call that play, which is why I stand right here and go for the Giga Drain as he does go for the waterfall. Tries to get a flinch, does not work. I'm able to weaken Azu and put it in range of Secret Sword guaranteed. And at this point, I'm going to save my Amoonguss because it does deal with Keldeo. And my Keldeo can also guarantee take the hit right here and then knock him out with Secret Sword. It'd also be able to knock out Ferrothorn, and if he wants to go out to his own Keldeo, I can protect and get a little bit chip damage. Basically, at this point, I don't think it really matters much what he does, but I do go for the protect right here just to get a little bit of damage off on Keldeo, you know, like just in case Keldeo maybe wants to pivot in on a potential U-turn later or a potential HP fire. That way it won't be able to with Sand, as he's going to go for Secret Sword. And at this point, I can safely just bring out my Landorus and click Scarf Earthquake. I'll be able to knock out Keldeo. And he goes Ferrothorn. At this point, as long as I keep my Keldeo plus my Amoonguss alive, I'm good. So all I got to do is click the Earthquake here as he goes for Gyro Ball to knock me out. And again, Azu cannot knock me out with Aqua Jet. And even if it does knock me out with Aqua Jet, I have Amoonguss, which is at full, which can take the hit and knock it out with Giga Drain. So that's going to be a game. So I ended up beating Kevin with his own team. I actually felt really bad because I didn't even realize it was his team. And last, we have, well, not last, but we have my next tournament game, which is a game versus Lavos. Now, I hate this matchup because Keldeo is so good versus me despite me having a Toxicroak, just because Specs Keldeo is scary as hell. Specs Keldeo is really scary for me to deal with. But Spikes is nice versus him, though he does have Tentacruel, which also kind of scares me a lot as well. And this Jirachi, I'm not sure if it's Spadef Body Slam or like a Calm Mind variant. Again, I'm not as familiar with what's going on with Black and White these days, unfortunately. But yeah, so the game plan is Spike stack him and hopefully break through with Thundurus. I actually get a little bit greedy in the beginning, as you can see, because I lead off with Thundurus. Basically, if Jirachi doesn't paralyze me right here, if it is a Jirachi variant, I can just break through something, and that will open up that door for potentially my own Keldeo putting in work, because I'm Scarf Keldeo. So if I could break through this, that'd be great. So I go for Nasty Plot right here, and I'm punished. Because he goes for the Body Slam and gets the para. That's okay though, because he still has to flinch me, which is still in his favor. He goes for Iron Head and gets a crit, and I flinch. And now it's like, oh, come on, man. My poor Thunders. So that was my bad. Ignore the dude in chat, because we both ignored it. But I bring out Ferrothorn, which probably should have been my initial switching anyway. And so that was, again, my bad, because I decided to play really dumb early on, trying to break. I was really impatient. But I bring out Ferrothorn again, like I said, get up Stealth Rock. He's going to try and paralyze me here as he's going for it, as I'm able to get up Spike. And at this point, I do have Extra Drill, which can spin, but I can't do it versus Jirachi because Jirachi threatens me with the Body Slam. I also have my Air Balloon, so I don't want that being broken for Gliscor. But he does paralyze me here as he's going to bring out Ferrothorn. How do I ignore this guy in that? Does this ignore it? Can I not see him in Dark Mode? No, I still see him. Anyway. So I throw up a power up here because if you want to go hard Tentacruel on the spin, I would appreciate that. And right here, we're basically just spiking up repeatedly and then playing the Spike War versus each other. I can't switch out because none of my Mons want to come in on Ferrothorn. I'm running a Rain team, and my Extra doesn't want to come in because it doesn't want to lose the Balloon. And basically, we're just trying to 1v1 each other. He had Knockoff, which helps a lot. But he does bring out Tentacruel right here as I do go for Power Whip, and I got fully paralyzed. In a sense, it didn't matter because Tentacruel could still spin and get rid of my hazards, but there's also always that chance of critting, and the fact that maybe like a higher roll plus, because he said he lived max roll plus Iron Barbs, but I don't know about that. I think this Ferrothorn had a little bit of attack either way, but I do 50% right there, and now I'm just gonna attempt to go for Leech Seeds and then Spike, but I get crit and paralyzed, so I'll bring out Tentacruel, bring out Toxicroak right here on the Scald. And because Politoed has Encore in this generation, it looks like it would be Scarf Politoed on this type of build, I go for a raw Focus Punch as opposed to going for sub, because I don't want Politoed to go for Encore versus me, as I am able to live. And the fact that I knocked that thing out, that is definitely Scarf Politoed. So he's going to bring out Jirachi here, and he's going to double out to Keldeo, anticipating me to go, I guess, Ferrothorn. Maybe he thought I'd go up the to extra go there. But either way, I'll bring out my Toxicroak. Toxicroak is supposed to be a counter to this Keldeo. However, it turns out it is Specs Keldeo, which does way too much. Thankfully, I'm actually able to survive and the Secret Sword and get up a sub and throw off a Focus Punch right here as he is going to bring out Gliscor. Didn't want to Ice Punch. As first off, I get more recovery this way, and secondly, if you want Feral Thorn on the Iron Bars, it will not be annoying. But Focus Punch into Ice Punch is going to be able to knock out the Gliscor. Unfortunately, though, Specs Keldeo kind of just disrupts the hell out of me because Secret Sword is so free versus my team. So what I guess I could have done there was stayed in and went for Toxic. Probably should have, thinking about it, because Toxic could at least wear it down for my own Keldeo range. So I tried to actually go out to my Keldeo after and go for a crit Secret Sword, because at that point, this is my only Mon that can outspeed his Keldeo. But Spec Secret Sword is able to break through me, and that's pretty much a good game because my Politoed is an offensive variant, which dies guaranteed. I did have, yeah, getting out Hazards would have been nice in a sense because I could have went for Toxic, but either way. Apparently he lived Hazards plus Max Whip plus Barbs. But yeah, either way, my entire team just gets destroyed by Specs Keldeo. So that's gonna be a good game. I definitely played really impatient this game in my opinion, like turn one. But though I don't feel like there are very many opportunities where I can nasty plot up safely versus a rain team. Maybe on Feral Thorn, but I couldn't even hit that. But I wanted to be able to break through that so my Toxicroak could do damage and my Scarf Keldeo could do damage. But either way, good game to Lavos. He actually went on to win the entire tour. He was using some cheese, if I'm not mistaken, going forward and whatnot. He has a bunch of black and white builds. So I hope you guys all enjoyed. Of course, if you did and you want to see more of this, if I do manage to play more tournaments, let me know. It's been fun playing tours. Hopefully I can get in more. And SPL is definitely right around the corner, so I plan on playing that. So I will see you guys next time. Goodbye, my friends. Thank you everybody for watching.